Michael Brown's father speaks out against BLM. So I'm sure most of you remember the whole Michael Brown situation, one of the black guys that was shot by a cop, and then they tried to pull the whole BLM card and all that. Well, his father now is a kind of the second, I think, or maybe third person that I've talked about on the show that has now decided to say, hey, what's going on with BLM? Something doesn't add up. And of course it doesn't at all. So we already have had a report previously from Breonna Taylor's mother where she said BLM doesn't care about me. They don't even know who I am in the local chapter. They couldn't tell me or pick me out of a crowd at all, and yet they claim to care about Breonna Taylor so much. And now you have Michael Brown's father kind of echoing somewhat of the same ideas, but a little bit different. So once again, Michael Brown was fatally shot by police in 2014, and now they're trying to have a accountability and transparency, some type of they're basically demanding that from the Black Lives Matter, the actual main organization BLM, okay? Because there's these different chapters that are smaller, but they're actually trying to figure out what's going on with the big one, the big actual BLM, with the real BLM. So the Daily Mail put in here that Black Lives Matter is actually earned $90 million in 2020. $90 million. That's a ton of money. And then they were left with a balance sheet of $60 million by January 2021. Around $8 million was spent on expenses, including staff costs and other things, but the other $20 million was donated to local chapters and nonprofits. So the question is, where's the $60 million? Where did that go? Because there's no proof that this went to help out any of these cities. None of this money was put towards communities, to improving the communities, or to helping lift black people out of poverty. None of it. Because all the families that were involved, whether that was George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, whatever, I mean, they got a settlement from the city. So BLM didn't give them any money. Where did that money go? And that's really the question here. So if you remember the used to be co-founder of BLM, Patrice Cullors, she had actually stepped down from her position as well from the organization. And she had, if you remember, put in $3.5 million worth of homes. One of the big ones, $1.4 million, centered in this extremely secluded area in California with a 2% black population. Okay, seriously. All of that. And apparently she put up a $35,000 electric fence on the outside of it as well. Seems a bit odd. What you worried about? I don't know. Seems a bit strange for a community that's fairly quiet from what the neighbors were saying. A $35,000 fence. Once again, you have to wonder at some point, where did this money really go? Did it go towards her? That's what we're thinking, because Patrice Cullors funneled money into another corporation somehow. This corporate entity, kind of this blank corporate entity, which she then used to buy houses under that corporate entity, so they weren't in her name. And she did this to try and cover it up, so people weren't seeing her as buying it, but this government or this other corporate entity doing it. But what was funding money to that corporate company? Nobody knows. But it would have to be the BLM money. I mean, what else would it be? I mean, this lady's living a lavish lifestyle. She was eyeing houses in Miami that were around $5 million. I mean, clearly somebody made out big. She got out and said, I'm done. I mean, she resigned literally after the reports, wanted to say that it had nothing to do with the reports, but we all know it had to do with those reports. But this is just another person that's saying, why isn't this money going where it needs to go? What even happened to the money? Of course, he's not going to get an answer. And that's the thing. BLM lied to you. They lied to everybody. And the people like him, Michael Brown's father, that's trying to come out and act like they all of a sudden care. Come on, like, get out of this organization, man. It's not going to help you attain anything. It never has. Just admit it. BLM lied to you. They lied to everybody. They took your money. They took donations. They profited off the backs of the outrage of these racial movements, and then they moved on. And it only helped to buy the co-founder a bunch of homes. So you tell me, like, where, once again, if BLM really cares about black lives, show me where they spent $1 to help out anybody except themselves. I'd love to see it, but you're not going to see that, and you're not going to get an answer from them anyways. You just watched a clip from the William Hall Show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.